Welcome back to Hey Jet. Today we are diving into Marvel Zombies Season 1, a direct continuation of What If Season 1, Episode 5. We'll go episode by episode, breaking everything down, and every shocking twist, death, and all little details that you might have missed. So grab your survival gear because this is about to get dark. This whole series picks up right after where what If series episode 5 left off. Remember when Bruce Banner was sent back to the Earth to warn everyone that Thanos was coming for the stones? Well, the world he landed in was different. It all started when Hank Pym shrunk down to the quantum realm to find Janet Van Dyne. But she wasn't the same. The quantum anomalies had messed with her cells, and when they came back, they brought something with them, the infection. And then that iconic moment, Scott Lang's hand on the Glack, straight out of a classic horror movie. Perfect! At this point, the only survivor we know of are Spider-Man, Hope Van Dyne, Bucky Barnes, Happy Hogan, Kurt, Sharon Carter, Okoye, and now Bruce Banner. They receive a message someone out there has created a cure. But before they can escape by the train, they're ambushed by Zombie Falcon and Zombie Hawkeye. Happy doesn't make it out alive, and Peter briefly rocks Doctor Strange's cloak of levitation, which looks amazing, man. And then Captain America. His entrance is brutal, and his fight with Bucky. Cap gets sliced clean in half. Meanwhile, Hope becomes infected. The team believes they can still save her with the cure, but the zombies outside are endless. In one of the most heartbreaking sacrifices, Hope grows giant and gives her life so that the others can escape. Eventually, they find Vision, who has actually made progress curing the virus. He managed to save, well, parts of Scotland. Just a floating head in a jar. But there is a darker reveal. Bucky discovers T'Challa alive, being slowly fed to zombie Wanda by Vision, who was trying to contain her. Wanda breaks free, Okoye is taken, and team splits. Barnes stay behind to buy time, while the others head to Wakanda with the Mind Stone. The episode ends with the ultimate tease: Zombie Thanos wielding 5 Infinity Stones. We open the series with 4 new characters: Riley Williams, aka Ironheart, Kate Bishop, aka Hawkeye, and Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, and Friday, Tony Stark's AI. They stumble on a Quinjet, which Riri immediately recognizes, only to find a zombified Eric Selvig inside. I don't know if that's Eric, but he looks like him. Things get escalated when zombie Hawkeye attacks, but the group manages to escape with a mysterious shield device. Turns out it's a transmitter meant to send the distress signal to space in case of emergencies. Soon after, we meet Okoye again, but this time with glowing red eyes. That's important later, I will tell you. On their journey to activate the signal, they witness lightning tearing across the sky. Not a storm, it's Captain Marvel versus Icarus. Yes, the Eternals suddenly part of the history now. But this show doesn't play it safe. Kate tries to strike her with a trick arrow, only to be obliterated. Man, that was harsh. Marvel really kills heroes this brutally, so it really drives home in this world. So this is just fantastic to see. Like in this universe, no one is safe. Later, Riri gets bitten. With no choice, she injects herself with her untested cure and tells Friday to get Kamala out. Kamala barely escapes and wakes up to her rescuer, the Blade. But this time isn't just Blade, this is Blade as the avatar of Khonshu, or as I want to call him, Blade Knight, with a perfect motorcycle design. That's fantastic. I love the look of his suit and his motorcycle and everything. They travel to Ohio, where they find a massive wall of zombies, but they're not attacking. We learn this is the work of Melina Vostokov, who uses the same mind control tech from Black Widow to keep zombies at bay. But the transmitter won't work from the Earth. He needs to launch it to space before they can figure out how to do so. Okoye appears and it reveals the growing eyes means she's under the control of none other than the Queen of the Dead, Wanda Maximoff. She's back, baby. Molina stays behind thinking she can control them, but Wanda proves too strong. And the end of Melina. Episode 2. We start with Shang-Chi and Katie running for their lives, and interestingly, they're wearing the same uniform which they wore in the beginning of Shang-Chi movie. And then we see Jimmy Woo, and I love it. We always thought about what could happen if these characters would run into each other in their other movies, like because the Shang-Chi and the Ant-Man and the Wasp happen in the same area and in the same time. We thought that idea, and this is amazing to see them together. And then we see Shang-Chi fighting and the surprise of Katie's face, and it's creeping me out. Like, the apocalypse doesn't freak her out that much than the Shang-Chi can fight. It's just amazing. And there is the entrance of Ten Rings and Shang-Chi's father, who jumps from the helicopter to help his son. And when he sees that he's beat, he sends the 10 rings to him. And from this time forward, Shang-Chi has 9 rings, because one of them at all time trying to stop the infection from spreading. We cut to 5 years later. Now they look like bandits in a full Mad Max vibe, and we see Skrulls riding towards them to steal their cows. They're stopped, and very interestingly, Shang-Chi has given the half of the rings to Katie so they can use it together. They get to the city on the sea. They run into the first thing that we saw in the first episode. Red Guardian noticed the zombie hand, and when they about to start fighting, John Walker steps in, introduces Baron Zemo. And if you don't remember who they are, John Walker was the Captain America for like 2 seconds and then became a US agent. And we saw him as an Avenger in Thunderbolts. And Baron Zemo is the mind behind the Civil War that we saw in Captain America. And it is revealed the city on the sea is actually the raft. I thought this was very important to mention. At lunch, Blade says that he no longer consumes blood. It is an interesting fact because in the comics, he used a serum to stop his blood loss. But now I think this was a part of an agreement with Khonshu. What do you think? And there is the Lacanians. They start attacking the raft, and a while after, Namor shows up. And there is a funny scene with the first movement. Jimmy says iceberg. It's a reference to the Titanic. And I love the look of Namor. It's just amazing, just fantastic. Walker activates the Hulk containment cell. It is the more improved version of the first Avenger movie, but obviously he breaks free because he's more powerful. And with a beautiful move from Kamala, they take him down. But to escape, they needed to launch it from inside the raft, so Yelena stays behind to help them escape. This episode reveals that the timeline is actually 5 years after the episode 5 of What If. The Wakanda group, now carrying the Mind Stone, faces something horrifying. Zombie Thanos, now with 5 Infinity Stones. They fight, but he's too powerful. Even Thor joins the battle, but still not enough. Black Panther, even with one leg, fights like an absolute badass. He manages to throw Thanos in a molten vibranium core, which causes the Infinity Stones to crash to release their energy, destroying everything in its path. Meanwhile, the survivors from the raft arrive at New Asgard, which looks stunning by the way. Valkyrie refuses to let them in until Khonshu himself appears, forcing her hand. Inside, they find what's left of Thor after his encounter with Thanos. And then comes the twist. The Queen of Sokovia. Wait, Sokovia doesn't have a queen, right? Wanda Maximoff. Notice she doesn't have her accent here. Just like in WandaVision, whenever she bends reality, she drops it. Wanda speaks of using the stone's powers to heal the world, as she supposedly did to herself. She wants their help to defeat the one who stole the stone's powers. Using the hand gesture from the multiverse of madness, she reveals the truth. The Asgardians' foods were actually the zombie body parts. Ew! Man, yuck! Alexei, aka Red Guardian, has been eating them too, but thanks to the serum, his infection spreads slowly. The heroes try to escape, and Blade uses a sleek move right out of the Moon Knight, which is just great, by the way. It looks fantastic. Thor buys them time and they blast off, only to discover the Nova Corps has arrived, but not to save Earth, but to destroy the ones who try to get out of Earth. Nova Corps destroys their ship, but the group is saved by sorcerers from Kamartaj. There are even light-hearted moments where Kamala meets Spider-Man, which is just amazing. Like, Kamala is just so fascinated with the fact that she's meeting Spider-Man. But then the bad news hits. To save the world from the stone's energy, it has to be contained. Their solution is the Hulk. They sent the Hulk to contain the powers of Infinity Stones. The final fight begins against Wanda and her army of dead. Kamala glances at the lineup heroes, and it echoes that iconic Kung Fu Panda moment, which is just amazing, man. The battle is massive, everyone is giving their all, but it's not enough. But Wanda isn't fighting to destroy. She wants the Infinity Stones. She wants the Infinity Energy for herself, to heal the world, as she says so. She manipulates Kamala, convincing her this is the right thing. And then Kamala wakes up. She's in the bed, surrounded by her friends. For a moment, it feels safe, but Riri is trying to warn her. This isn't real. This is exactly what happened in the WandaVision. That's where season 1 ends. So what do you think happened with the Infinity Energy? And would you like to see the season 2 of Marvel Zombies? Let me know in the comments below. This is Ali from Hey Jet Set, and I'll see you in the next one.